What do you think of when you hear the word Triceratops? Perhaps an image of a large, powerful dinosaur with 3 horns and a frilled head comes to mind. But did you know that recent discoveries suggest an Asian origin for horned dinosaurs in the Jurassic period? Or that Triceratops individuals could be divided into 4 groups based on their growing stages? In this video, we'll explore the fascinating world of Triceratops, from its physical features to its behavior and what recent scientific research has revealed about this iconic herbivorous dinosaur. So get ready to travel back in time and discover the incredible world of Triceratops. Triceratops, known for its bony frill and 3 horns, have captivated people of all ages. This herbivorous dinosaur belongs to the Ceratopsid genus that first appeared during the late Cretaceous period. Recent discoveries suggest an Asian origin for horned dinosaurs in the Jurassic period and the appearance of truly horned ceratopsians in North America at the beginning of the late Cretaceous. Cool, right? Triceratops had a large and powerful body, growing up to 9 meters in length and weighing 6 to 12 tons. Their defining feature was their enormous skull, which made up almost a third of their length and had a beak in front of their teeth. The lower jaws met at their tips, and the upper jaw had a single horn above the nostrils and a pair of brow horns. The skull roof was formed by fused frontal bones, and a short, bony frill grew from the outer squamosal and inner parietal bones. Both Triceratops species had robust skeletons. The vertebral column had 10 necks, 12 back, 10 sacral, and around 45 tail vertebrae. The neck of the Triceratops was a constant in height instead of sloping upwards, and the neck ribs only began to lengthen with the 9th cervical vertebrae. The back vertebrae were rather short and high, reinforced by ossified tendons along the top of the neural arches. The sacrum was straight and long, and all sacral vertebrae were fused in adult individuals. The posture of horned dinosaurs has been debated for a long time. Even though they were quadrupedal, it was once thought that their front legs had to sprawl at a considerable angle from their thorax to bear the weight of the animal. However, ichnological evidence in the form of trackways and recent reconstructions of skeletons indicate that the Triceratops and other ceratops maintained an upright stance during normal locomotion. Their elbows were flexed behind and slightly bowed out, like a modern rhinoceros in an intermediate state between fully upright and fully sprawling. Compared to other 4-legged dinosaurs, the hands and forearms of Triceratops were relatively primitive in structure. When walking, most of their fingers pointed outwards and away from their body. The first 3 fingers carried the weight of the body, while the 4th and 5th were small and functioning as claws or hooves. When examining fossils or extinct organisms, it is common to find a range of variations. Due to the fact that organisms change over their lifetime, individuals of different ages are often classified as different species. Triceratops is no exception. Although up to 16 species have been suggested, only 2 are currently considered valid. Ontogeny is the study of an animal's growth throughout its life. In 2006, a study on the growth stages of Triceratops was published in the Journal of Proceedings of the Royal Society. The study found that Triceratops individuals could be divided into 4 groups: babies, juveniles, subadults, and adults. These growth stages correspond to autogenetic characteristics expressed in postorbital horns, frill, nasal epitaxial horn, and EPA occipital. The function of Triceratops' horns and frills has been debated among paleontologists. Early on, it was postulated that frills have served as anchor points for large jaw muscles, but later studies did not find evidence of this. Lesions of Triceratops specimens have been cited as evidence of battling or defense against predators, but alternate interpretations suggest that the skull ornamentations were mainly used for display rather than combat. A study on the skulls of adult Triceratops and Centosaurs found that the horns on their heads may have been used for intraspecific battles. The two animals have different cranial ornaments, but this difference only aided in the study's effectiveness. If cranial ornaments were used only for display or species recognition, the two taxa would have similar rates of incidence for cranial lesions in comparable cranial elements. However, it was found that Triceratops and Centrosaurus did not differ significantly in the rates of lesion occurrence with the nasal, jugal, and periodical bones of the skull. Triceratops had a significantly higher prevalence of lesions on the squamosal bone of the frilled, while Centrosaurus did not. This suggests that the Triceratops used their horns for intraspecific combat. Statistical analysis in comparison with rates of rib fracture and other taxa may provide further evidence. Horned dinosaurs used their cranial ornaments for a variety of functions. Neoceratopsians, the evolutionary predecessors of ceratopsids, possessed a thin, enlarged frill, but lacked elongated brows or nasal horns. The primary function of the frill was likely displayed rather than cervical protection. The later evolution of brow horns may have increased the importance of a protective function for the frill. Assuming that the horns were used for combat, the relatively thickened, solid frill of Triceratops may have been an adaptation for cervical protection. In addition to its role in display, horned combat and the consequences of injury from this combat may have been another important selective factor. A skull was discovered with a healed puncture wound in the jugal bone, which was likely sustained while the dinosaur was alive. The diameter of the hole matches that of a Triceratops horn. This and other healed injuries in ceratopsian skulls are evidence of non-fatal competition among these dinosaurs. The horns and frills that aided in these competitions may have also been effective against predators. The Triceratops was not commonly hunted during its time, and were mainly preyed upon by tyrannosaurs and dromaeosaurs. The battle between tyrannosaurs and Triceratops is well known, and we have evidence of it from fossils. Bite marks on Triceratops frills were not from actual eating, but rather a pulling action to reposition the prey so the T-Rex could access the nutritious neck. Meat tooth marks were found on Triceratops occipitalis condyles, indicating that the T-Rex decapitated the prey. Other predators, such as tyrannosaurs and dromaeosaurs, were also a threat. Triceratops are commonly portrayed as herding animals, but there is currently no solid evidence that they lived in herds, unlike other horned dinosaurs. All Triceratops fossils found at present only preserve solitary individuals, although these remains are very common. Bruce Erickson, a paleontologist at the Science Museum in Minnesota, saw 200 Triceratops specimens in the Hall Creek Formation of Montana, and Barney Brown saw over 500 skulls in the field. Due to the abundance of Triceratops fossils, it is considered one of the most dominant herbivores of all time. In 1986, Robert Baker estimated that it accounted for 5/6 of large dinosaur fauna at the end of the late Cretaceous. According to recent evidence presented by Illis and Fowler in 2020, Triceratops likely lived in small groups of 5 to 10 individuals based on fossils collected in the previous decade. Although Triceratops is often portrayed as an herbivore in the media, recent evidence suggests that it may have been more omnivorous due to its low head. While its primary food source was low-lying plants, it may have been able to knock down taller plants with its horns, beak, and bulk. Its jaws were tipped, with a narrow beak for grasping and plucking, and its sharp molars for scavenging. It may seem unlikely, but many modern-day herbivores occasionally consume animal matter. Similarly, there is no reason why Triceratops wouldn't have consumed meat on occasion, given its teeth were capable of shearing in a vertical or near vertical orientation. Triceratops is believed to have consumed large volumes of fibrous plant material, including palms, cycads, and ferns that grew in the prairies. Unfortunately, it died out in the famous mass extinction caused by a combination of volcanic activity and a giant meteor. None of the ceratopsians or non-avian dinosaurs survived. As we come to the end of our journey into the world of Triceratops, it's clear that this dinosaur continues to captivate people of all ages. From its impressive bony frill and 3 horns to its massive size and unique skeletal structure, Triceratops remains a fascinating creature that sparks our imagination and curiosity about the ancient world. Thank you for joining us on this adventure through the world of Triceratops. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating videos like this one. Until next time, keep exploring and never stop learning.